Think the iPhone 15 is invincible? Don't let this be you, this is not a good look. In this bucket are my top 10 iPhone 15 cases, so let's just get to it. The question is Monty ready? Number 10 goes to the Apple Fine Woven Wallet. I'm kidding. It goes to the OtterGrip Symmetry series. It's not very often that a new case makes it in the top 10, especially an OtterBox case, but this OtterBox case has a phone grip built into the back of it. And you guys know me, I like to finger my iPhones. I think that came out wrong. I'll be honest with you guys, this grip isn't as comfortable as my top picks. The case itself isn't bad. It's got nice floating buttons. Screen access is decent. The case itself is a little wider than usual. iPhone's gonna be fine from, chest height drops. But the back of the case is incredibly slick. The reason why it makes the top 10 is because you can use MagSafe accessories with the phone grip built in. You could do a stand if you really wanted to, or even use a charging accessory. The flexibility that the OtterGrip offers you is just unparalleled. Number 9 goes to the MagBack case. This is the only silicone type case in the video. The rankings for this product has slipped a little bit, mostly because the finish on the case is really slick now. It used to be a lot grippier and now it doesn't handle as well. This case is going to offer more protection than other silicone cases because of these raised corners. There's just a bit more clearance for your screen. Button access is awesome. Screen access is decent because the edges are very tapered. Now MagBack still has their second set of magnets in the case, which allows you to use it with their MagBack sticks. This little thing is basically a tiny car mount. To get the most out of this case, you gotta buy a MagBack wallet. MagBack, I would say, is one of the OGs of the wallet stand thing, but as you just saw, it's just not as stable. It works, you just gotta be careful. 3 years ago when MagSafe came out, this was really good, but there's a couple of wallet stand products that are a little better than this, hence the slip in the rankings. Number 8 goes to the Catalyst Influence. This was last year's Catalyst Influence. This is this year's. Notice the difference? I hope so. The thing I love most about this case, the rotary switch is gone. No! On the Catalyst Influence, now it's just a cutout. Which is a little disappointing because you went from this awesome clicky mute switch thing to just normal. Now the finish on the case is top notch. It's one of those cases where I put a bit more pressure into it and the case just sticks to my hand. The corners of this case are fairly thick, so you could drop it from 10-12 feet, I think the last time I did. Yeah, iPhone was fine. The case edges are pretty pronounced, so when you're going from left to right swiping, your fingers are going to feel like they're hitting speed bumps. The Influence has a frosted back and I'm a big fan of this, mostly because it won't show wear and tear like other cases will. These holes in the corners of the case are attachment points, so you could stick lanyards to it, a neck strap. As a bonus, Catalyst includes a wrist strap. Tested to 10 kg. Oh really? Last thing I will note is that it doesn't have the speaker cutouts at the bottom, it has the speaker cutouts on the front. So this thing's pushing sound forward, not to the bottom, so it's just really hard to mute this phone. Catas claims it's louder by 30%, which is true, but the sound quality does take a small hit from my perspective. Number 8 goes to basically any of the frosted cases from Phone Rebel. I've really enjoyed using these cases in the last year. I didn't really like them at the beginning. The biggest draw for me, like the Catalyst Influence, is the frosted back. It just makes my iPhone look awesome. And the wear and tear around this MagSafe area is minimized. I'm still really paranoid about the Flex with its exposed edges, as I feel like I'm always gonna crank the edges of my iPhone. I'm paranoid about that happening. But the majority of the drops will occur on the corners, so my paranoia is generally unfounded. The corners of the case are thick TPU with a TPE inset. It's that blue stuff that you see, which is gonna offer better drop protection than your average OtterBox case. The buttons float so you get a nice response from them, and there's just a lot of texture on this case. To the point where some parts feel a little sharp. Now I don't pull my rankings out of thin air, I just don't make it up as I go. I use every case that I buy and then I weigh them based on design, functionality, and protection. I've got a running list of about 200 cases and I just kind of make adjustments based on how the iPhone gets used over the years. Just thought you guys should know I'm not pulling stuff out of my butt. Number 6 goes to the Ghost Tech Exec 6. This is one of my favorite thin cases if you're looking for a really grippy case with a lot of functionality baked into it. Get this one. This case handles exceptionally well. The oversized corners are basically anchors that go into the palm of your hand. The case has a nice soft rubber finish, which helps with the handling, but also improves the wallet connection you get with the case. And the cherry on top of this grippy sundae is a small grip strip along the edge of this case. This is one of the very few products where if I'm not using a phone grip, I don't really worry about me dropping my iPhone because it's just so grippy. Ghost Tech also includes their wallet, which closes magnetically. It's got a nice snap to it. You can hold a couple cards and some cash because there's a cash clip. And this wallet doubles as a stand in landscape and a really shallow portrait mode. Now these 4 holes in the back of the case are part of the MagnaLink system. So there's stuff like armband mounts, car mounts, as well as bike mounts. Seriously, just very useful. It's like a Swiss Army knife of cases. The only thing I worry about is that the edges of the case do come off a little too easily for me. So this, from a higher height, might be trouble for your screen. Number 5 goes to the Rhino Shield Mod NX. Now I generally have a love-hate relationship with this product, but Rhino Shield updated it for the iPhone 15s. The finish on this bumper now is incredible. It is wonderfully grippy. The back frame isn't removable anymore, so you don't get to customize that color, but you can still swap out the buttons if you wanted to. Come on. There we go. I like the Mod NXs because they are modular, which means you could go with just the bumper or add a back plate to it. They've got ones with MagSafe as well. Another reason why I like the bumper is because of the iPhone 15. Not the Pros, just the regular iPhone 15. The finish that Apple uses on the back of their cases is just incredible. Like, this just feels so amazing. Now the case does bow out a little bit, and this updated version seems to pop off a little easier. Another reason why I like the bumper is that just the edges give my fingers just a little something else to hold on to or to grip. These updated Mod NXs are a little thicker than previous versions. The updated finish just totally makes up for that. An upside to the thicker bumper is that your iPhone lays flat. Number 4 goes to the Spec Presidio 2 grip. I don't know why it took Spec so long to put MagSafe in their cases, but this thing is awesome. I'd show you an iPhone in this case, but the one that does fit in is kind of broken. Now previous grip versions had the grip protruding out from the back, but the MagSafe version, it's actually going into the case. And these two things kind of feel almost identical. It's kind of weird. Because they're not floating, they've kind of got this weird gummy sensation to it. And as an example, I'm just showing you that the edges of this case are very, very pronounced. One of the downsides of this updated design is that the case is very, very flexible. Kind of like the previous product we just reviewed, the case corners just come off way too easily for my liking. So if you're planning on getting any of these cases, use my links. My channel is unsponsored, this video is unsponsored, and the only way I thrive is, well, through your guys' support by watching my videos and getting your stuff through my links. I love what I do. I've been doing this for 10 years and I'm so grateful that I still get to do it. So help me out. All right, let's talk about the top 3. Number 3 goes to the Tapered sheath. I think this case jumped up 2 or 3 spots in my top 10 list. I updated my ranking for wear and tear, and this case, this has been one of my go-to cases, is still looking pretty good. I've used the Spec Presidio 2 grip way less than I have the Tapered sheath, and like the difference in wear and tear is like almost night and day. I talk a lot about the wear and tear because the MagSafe magnets for all the accessories tend to leave marks on these cases. I'll show you an example in a couple of minutes. The Tapered sheath is just a clean looking, thin, minimalistic case. If you just want a simple looking cover and nothing too crazy, kind of like this Ghost Tech Exec, you can't go wrong with this product. The finish on this case is extremely grippy, and the edges are extremely rigid, which is crazy for a thin case because the majority of thin cases, doing this, like just, like this is a Spigen case, and just look how much I can bend the edges. And that's a big problem because dust and debris eventually get collected there and then it might scratch the side of your iPhone. From a protection standpoint, Tapered claims you could drop it from 6 feet. Corners maybe, but not face first. Number 2 goes to the Apple Fine Woven. I'm kidding, no it doesn't. It's the Casetify Ultra Impact. I actually have a big problem with Casetify is that most of their case lineup is so good that like it would just fill up the top 10. Like this company has totally figured out how to make like amazing customizable cases. My personal preference is for the Ultra Impacts. They're not as crazy as the Bounce or the Ultra Bounce. There's large corners, which basically, again, anchor the phone in your palm, which is just really nice. These multi-layered cases have a TPU exterior, and then on the inside, they've got this TPE stuff called EcoShock. And that's just there for extra drop protection. Now, there are 2 things that bother me about these cases. The first are the buttons, and I'll be honest with you, I've gotten so spoiled with floating buttons that are built into the case, they just don't feel as good. And the other thing that annoys me is that on the clear back cases, the back just gets chewed up over time from all the MagSafe accessories that you're going to use because MagSafe is amazing. I will be doing individual case reviews for Casetify's entire lineup because I just think it's about time I revisit them. So make sure you turn on notifications so that every single time that happens, well, you get notified. So the number 1 case is still cases from Mouse. This Limitless 5.0 is the perfect iPhone case. There is nothing on this product that I would change. iPhone access is amazing in this case. It feels thinner than it actually is. You've got the bulk at the top and the bottom of the products, and the edges are tapered so that when you're sliding from left to right, you don't really feel the case edges. The cases have floating buttons, so you get to use Apple's buttons as intended. It's a multi-layer case, so you get TPU on the outside and the green stuff on the inside, that's TPE. AeroShock. With the Limitless 5.0, Mouse added in these grip strips. Now they're not as pronounced as the ones you'd find on the Ghost Tech Exec 6, but it also doesn't feel like sandpaper in your hands. There's 2 slots for the lanyards, and the iPhone sits on a bed of microfiber. Now, one of the scoring updates I did for the iPhone 15s is wear and tear around the MagSafe area. For example, this is the Limitless 5.0 I use for my 14 Pro most of the time. You can kind of see where the MagSafe accessories sit, right? This is what the back of my Phone Rebel case looks like. You could definitely see the scratches. And this case, I've only been using for maybe 3-4 months. This thing, since the iPhone 14s came out. The cherry on top of this wonderful case sundae is, well, the different finishes you can get. Come on, that's just stunning. So that's all I got for this video. Questions, comments, leave them down there. Get your stuff through my links to support the channel. And, well, we'll see you next year for the iPhone 16 Top 10 video. Thanks for watching.